welcome to our next Ag Insider. So I'm down in Springville, New York today with some friends here. I think you hear them in the background. So this is Lucky Ewe Farm, and I am joined here with Corinne Sakalowski, and she has one of their recently born lambs. Now, Corinne, when was this little lamb born?
So she was born the other evening. Was it 2 nights ago? 2 nights ago, yeah.
2 nights ago, wow. So she already looks so big, and this is her anxious mom waiting in the background here. And so how long are they pregnant before they give birth to their lambs?
So they are pregnant for 5 months. We calculate between 145 and 147 days.
Okay. So usually they breed in the fall and then give birth in the spring?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I noticed there's also another lamb in the pen here with the mom. Mm-hmm. And she's concerned about her little one here and just wants to make sure that her lamb is still nearby. So you had twins?
Yes.
So do they always have twins? Can they have more or less?
Most commonly we do see twins. We also have a mom that had a single, and then we have a set of triplets.
Wow, triplets. That must be a lot of work for these ewes to keep up with. Now, what breed are these sheep?
So we raise predominantly Hampshire crosses, and we do have a few Suffolks in our flock as well.
Awesome. Now, why do you guys raise these sheep? What's so special about them to you?
So I love lambing season, all these cute little lambs, and what I really like is that I can go to different county fairs in the area and exhibit my own sheep that I have raised since birth.
Awesome. Now, is this breed raised for their wool, for their meat?
So all of these sheep are raised for their meat. We typically sell them to 4-H'ers in the spring or summer.
All right. Well, in the world of farming, it is hard to raise the animal and then let go, I'm sure. Yeah. But definitely a great learning experience for yourself and for 4-H'ers to be able to learn all about the breed and to raise them. And this little one here is so sweet and so quiet right now. And Mom said, I guess I'm okay with you holding her, and I'm going to munch on some hay. So next up, we're going to see a bunch of other lambs and the next stage they go to. And first, a question for you guys. All right, so now we're over here with the lambs. And Corinne, can we talk a little bit about special care for these babies? Now, I noticed that they are kind of in a separate pen here.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a place where they can go to start on some crate feed and have their own access to hay. And then we're going to add some water in here this weekend for them. And then we have a heat lamp to give some extra warmth. We don't like to use heat lamps in the lambing pen when they're a day or two old, only because I'm always nervous of a fire or something. But we have this one a little bit higher up, so none of the sheep can butt at it or play with it, but they can have plenty of room to lay under it. And yeah, and then we have the cardboard in the back just to block them from any wind.
Awesome. Wow. They all look very cozy there. I see lots of little napping lambs, and I know they all have lots of hay and water that they can access out here with their moms. And how often do you see them coming in and out of this pen to get heat, or do they prefer to be by their mom?
So it really all depends on where they want to go. I'll come out here at feeding time and they could be laying under the heat lamp or with all the other lambs, and then at night when I check the cameras or come out before bed, they'll be laying next to their moms. So I'd say they come in and out a few times a day.
Awesome, awesome. They all look so cozy. Now you mentioned the creep feed. Is that have special nutrition just for lambs?
Yeah, so we typically feed a higher percent to the lambs just for when they're growing. Right now, they're not really after the feed so much as the milk, but we are just sprinkling in a few different kinds of feed. There's one with a molasses base, and then there's some pellets and corn and some oats mixed in there.
Awesome. Now these lambs I know were all born just within the last week, right?
Yeah, a week or two. So they're all pretty close in age.
Wow, so they start eating the creep feeder grain and hay pretty quickly, but I know right off the bat, milk is most important, you mentioned. Now, a lot of people talk about colostrum. What exactly is that and how is it important for these lambs?
So colostrum is a special type of milk that the mom produces within a few hours after birth, and it's very important for their immune systems to get right and going after they're born. So we typically offer them from a bottle. If they don't choose to use the bottle, we do know how to tube them just so it is in their systems.
Awesome. Well, they are getting the most excellent care here, that's for sure. But first, a question for you guys before we move on. Do you want to know how much a baby lamb weighs? Well, we're going to show you. This lamb here was just born this morning, and this ewe had twins. Now, Corinne, do you have a guess of how much this lamb is going to weigh?
I'd say between 12 and 14 pounds.
12 to 14 pounds. Well, let's see how close she is. Now, they put the lamb in the sling, and you see it has a strap across the chest to go ahead and hold it nice and steady and around its torso. And what do we have there?
13.65.
Wow, look at that, 13.65. And now is that a large lamb, a small lamb?
So this is about our average weight across Suffolks and Hampshires is right about 13 to 15 pounds.
Awesome. Now do the boys and girls, do they weigh more or less than the other?
The boys typically do weigh between a pound to 4 pounds heavier than a girl.
Okay, and do you have a girl or boy with you there?
So this is a girl.
Well, and she's pretty good size then.
Yeah.
And this ewe here had twins this morning. So you heard it here first. That's how they weigh the lambs here at Lucky Ewe Farm. All right, well, we've talked about the ladies and the lambs. Now it's time to talk about the boys. So who do we have over here with us, Corinne?
So these are the two rams that we use in breeding towards the end of summer, and this is a purebred Suffolk ram that we use on about 6 or 7 of our ewes, and the rest we'll use this crossbred ram back here.
Now, do these gentlemen have names?
Yeah, so the Hampshire Cross is Diamond D, and the Suffolk is Mr. Big.
Now, it looked like that when we put our hand in towards them, they got a little nervous, and I think it's the new folks here today, like myself and the camera shy, because you mentioned that you take them in and outside to a pasture real easy, right?
Yeah, so typically I'll get that Suffolk on a halter back there, and his friend right here will just follow because they're best friends.
Now, best friends, I noticed that everybody here in the barn has a best friend, it seems. So would you say they all get along all the time or not?
Not always. So these two will fight right when they get out of the pasture and more room to fight. But if you take one away, the other will get super nervous.
So it's kind of like a brotherly rivalry?
Yes.
All right. Well, we have seen lots of sheep, but let's talk about their products and their feed next. Now, Corinne, we've got some different types of feed here. Can you explain a little bit about who gets what? Because I would have no idea.
So this is what our mature ewes get. This is cracked corn and some pellets. And then this is what our babies get, which this is a mix of corn, some oats, some smaller chopped pellets and molasses. And then this is more of a molasses pellet. And then our rams also get fed that.
Now, I can really see the difference between this here and the smaller fine pieces to it for those young growing lambs compared to the pellets for the ewes. Now, are all the vitamins and minerals they need in here?
Most of them, but we also provide lick tubs for the sheep year round just for some extra vitamins and energy.
Awesome. Now, we did see that inside the pen, and it's a big tub full of minerals and vitamins that the sheep can just lick and get little bits whenever they want. Now, I see we have hay here. Wow, this is some really nice hay. Now, what's the difference between this one and this one here?
So this will be the first cutting, which we usually get in May, and then this is more of a later cut. So the baby lambs, we will typically feed that. They typically like it a lot more, and then we also mix that in with our ewes first cutting right now, which they seem to prefer that, but they do love this as well.
Awesome. Now, hay is just cut dried grasses and gets confused a lot of times with straw. So if we look over here, we have some straw. Now, what do you guys use the straw for if you don't use it for feeding?
So we'll typically use it for bedding. When we do put it in there, they like to eat it, but it doesn't harm them at all. And it's very nice for the babies to snuggle up to right after they're born.
Oh, so for warmth and comfort and for bedding. And then I see we have some wood shavings here as well. And are these for bedding too?
Yes, we like to use those in the ewes pen. It keeps it very dry. We also layer that with straw, but we're using a lot of shavings right now with everybody being inside in the winter.
I bet. Lots of cleaning up to do. It's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, over here, I see you brought out for us something special.
Yes, so this is some wool from our sheep. We'll enter this in our county fair's open class wool show. This is one of the nicer fleeces from our ewes, and although they're not typically a wool breed, we just found this a nicer fleece and decided to keep it.
It's very soft. Now, does it have to be cleaned or processed in any way before it becomes yarn?
Yes, so we do send it to be washed before we'll put it on display at the fair, and we do sell the wool in bulk, but we don't get much money for it since wool isn't typically used in a lot of clothing anymore.
So, you heard it here first, everyone. You can get wool, you can get meat, lots of products from sheep. But I think the best part is just raising them and having so many lambs around, right, Corinne?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and for being part of Ag Insider and for sharing so much of your wealth of knowledge about sheep with us. We'll see you next time.